I love it. Hey, are you 30 years old yet? Where are we at? Where are we at?
No, not yet. I'm getting there though.
Are you shitting me?
I'm 29.
I feel old.
God damn. One of these days, I just assume you're going to catch up, but you haven't.
That would be good.
Hey, Ram. Okay, so remember, let's rewind. Let's go back to December 2017.
Yeah,
We came down to the Dominican.
I'm going to close my eyes because I want to relive the moment.
You challenged us to make our own cigar. And
Yes.
for 2.5 years, from the ones that I had made, I have not smoked any of them.
Not yet?
But today, my friend, today is the day.
We're smoking.
Oh, yeah.
So today is the day. Now, and I want to preface, I want to throw out a disclaimer to anybody who's listening and watching. You challenged us to do essentially all of this. The only thing we didn't do was pick the actual tobacco leaves, but the selection of the blend process and actually rolling the cigars was all on us. And I will have to say, as a disclaimer to everybody who's listening and watching, I was definitively the worst roller out of everybody. This is not a product of Ram's rollers in his factory. This is a product of me being absolutely horrific at this process. So if it looks like it's burning wonky, actually I just kind of did just a cold draw on it, and it feels like it's going to smoke well. But anything outside of that, disclaimer, it's 100% on me and not on the El Artista factory.
Yeah. Thank you for that disclaimer. So can you put it closer to the screen so I can see it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Hey, they're not that bad.
Well, you also, I already clipped the cap off, so you missed arguably the most horrific piece of this,
Corey,
and that is my cap placement.
Like this one had some like flabby skin on it from like, you know, like old people arms. Like
yeah, they're not Zoom. I feel like the Zoom cameras give me a little bit more credit than what I deserve because it doesn't necessarily show how terrible I was at this process. So, so how's everything been, my friend? So we haven't really talked. I've been back and forth with Kevin, but I know you're busy as shit. Quarantine and everything, and the Dominican. The difference being is like a lot of the guys and gals that we've talked to in the industry as of recent don't necessarily have the same troubles and issues you have, and that's the fact that you run an entire operation. You run a factory. So what has that been like? Did you guys have to shut down? Did you have to slow down? Did you have to limit? Did you have to put up barriers?
So yes, first, like as in any other country, nobody had any idea of what was gonna happen or anything like that. This was extremely fast. The first week, like we knew we had the virus on the island and everything, but it was like honestly, I was taking it more like a joke more than anything else. I actually left the island. I went to Chicago and then to Miami. When I was in Miami, I get this call from my dad, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I'm working." Why? Why you're not here? What do you mean? Are you not checking the news? So the country was gonna shut down next day. Like they were gonna close the border. I was like, oh shit. So I had to pack my things and leave the same day back to the island. When I get here, I'm still honestly not taking anything as serious as I should, I guess. I don't know. I was just going around all over the place. My wife decided to sleep out of the house, and I was like, why? Oh, you have to be in quarantine. I was like, oh, fuck no, I'm not gonna be in self-quarantine by myself. Everybody was kind of far from me, like, oh, like if I had some very bad disease because I traveled. After that, I took things a little bit more serious, and when we start checking on the news what was going on and all the new regulations that the government implement, we declare in a state of emergency. Like the free trade zones, they were not forced to shut down, but we decided to shut down anyways. One of the main reasons is because we have a lot of very old people working here. Since we are an old factory and our turnover is very, very, very low, So we thought that the safest thing to do was to close, and in that moment was the right decision, and a lot of other factories did the same as well. We opened the company again. I think it was like 2 weeks before main stage of the quarantine and the shutdown and all that in the on the country, because we have a lot of orders that we need to deliver.
Right.
But because we were not 100% ready, we only brought back around 20 people in total out of the 750 that we have
Oh,
working.
no.
Yeah, just to take care of a couple of things. uh, and yeah, after that we've been increasing, and we have now like a new standard in all the facilities, making sure everybody's is safe, everybody's wearing their mask,
Yeah.
and all that. We have every desk has hand sanitizer. At the entrance there's like a little thing that sprinkles sanitizer in all of your body. uh oh yeah, that's
Damn.
hilarious. Yeah.
Awesome.
And right now we have around 75% of our personnel working.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's been crazy because we have a lot of demand. It's summertime. Everybody needs to have their cigars. All our tobacco customers are waiting for their tobacco as well. We are receiving a lot of tobacco from the farms as well. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do. All the ones that we left behind and the new ones to take care of. So, and it's been a little bit crazy, but we're getting there.
Are you going to have to add additional staff just to keep up with the demand as you kind of ramp back up? Like maybe even like part-timers or
Yeah,
like,
so right now our biggest cuello de botella, like we have the slowest process is in packaging, and over there this week we decide to add a couple of extra hours every day, and we are considering increasing the amount of staff on that department in particular, because we have a lot of cigars we need to ship.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. I feel like if you wanted to get over COVID, maybe you just go down to like the fermentation cellar or something, just breathe in some heavy ammonia, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely,
That'll do it.
definitely. And it's funny, but that little sprinkler we have in every door now is actually ammonia. So why don't we just put a shit ton of tobacco all over the place, and
Right.
that's it?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. So how have you been personally? How's everything been in terms of, I mean, minus coronavirus, you're a couple years older than I remember, which is fantastic. You're younger than your girl though, right?
Yes, I am. I am.
I
2 months
remember that we had that
younger.
conversation
Yeah,
because mine's older than me.
yeah, yeah. So we are expecting a baby.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
The first one, she's due by the end of next month.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's been a funny quarantine with a pregnant lady in the house.
Oh, yeah.
I like how you use the word funny.
I understand the trepidation though, because there's a lot of things around pregnant women and their susceptibility to COVID-19, and like I can imagine she was probably a little worried about getting it into the household. I can see that.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the reason. Honestly, if it was for me, I would be in the street trying to get the COVID and just get it done.
Just to get it done.
Oh yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. We were talking about that the other day where I said, listen, if the chances are, because some epidemiologists have said, was like 80% of the world's going to likely contract it eventually. I'm like, let's just get it out of the way then. Like, I'd rather just have it now. Let's get it out of the way. Government issued T-shirt that says, I survived Corona. I'm
Yeah.
safe in public. And then go about our merry way.
Yeah, I'm tired of washing my hands all the time.
I'll tell you what, it's crazy how dry. Like usually I'm always good about hygiene and cleanliness, but just through this last 3 months, especially with hand sanitizer, which I think is a little bit more harsh for the hands, because it really dries everything out. Oh, my hands have been impossibly dry. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
like I have like gross hobbit hands or something,
Yeah.
wrinkly and ugh. So you're battling coronavirus still, battling that. PCA obviously canceled for this year. I don't know if they ever announced anything in terms of doing like a virtual platform. I mean, I know they're still pretty active during this time. I'm always excited for any sort of anticipated releases. Do you have anything coming up this year that you're excited about, either in the US market or elsewhere?
Yes, we do. This year we had in mind actually a couple of releases, but because of all the delays due to the virus, we decided to shrink down the options we were gonna bring out. For this year, we're gonna introduce a line extension for the Buffalo 10 line.
Ooh.
Yes, and we are also working with rebranding the Puro Ambar line as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming with a very similar presentation, but a little bit renewed, and a nicer design. And we also played a little bit with the blend. We keep the kind of the original essence, but we decide to modernize a little bit of the blend as well, and the sizes too. Instead of having then like a shorter version of a robusto and a shorter version of a double toro, we're straightforward. We're gonna have a Corona, a
Nice.
robusto, and a toro.
Beautiful. Like you just nailed the 3 Vitolas that I actually smoked.
Exactly. Yeah,
1, 2,
that's
3.
good. Yeah, and one of the main reasons we did some changes on the rebranding is mainly FDA. We didn't want to have a lot of different packaging. We want to keep everything kind of the same, more or less. And with that, I mean, like most all of our boxes, but Puro Ambar and Pulita are 20 count boxes. Puro Ambar was a 21, so now it's gonna be 20 count as well. Pulita, we're just gonna keep it like that. We love that presentation so much that we're just gonna leave it like that.
Right.
But with this one, we decided to remove that extra cigar there in order to have it very similar to with all of our other products.
Nice. Very cool.
Awesome.
So I want to, the first time, admittedly, Kevin sent us some samples of the Buffalo 10. So one of the things that I was intrigued by that in terms of that cigar when it first initially released was, of course, the price point. Because I think there's something in that, let's call it value type line, value type cigar, where I think when they hit the mark, and I think there's a short list of cigars that do in a similar price range that really hit the mark in terms of exceeded value. The Buffalo 10 was one of those cigars for me when I first tried it. I was like, how is this only like $5 because it smokes? I love $5 cigars that smoke like $10 cigars.
Oh
And
yeah.
taste the $10 cigars. I think that's incredible. So my very first question, and I asked Kevin of this, and he said to ask you this question, was I said, why not sell these for more? Why not sell them for $8, $9, $10?
So when we came with this product, we were looking for something in a particular price point. We usually, when we are blending, we don't focus that much on price, but in quality. But this one in particular, we were looking for something that the customer can enjoy, and kind of like the entry to El Artista, let's say.
Right.
So we want to make sure to have like a very good price, and focus just in order to be able to have such a good price point, focus only on having a very good cigar and forget about everything else. We have like very simple presentation, very simple band, very simple packaging as well. Just a very good cigar with a great value. To be honest with you, when we had the product ready, and I always go to my father to get his blessing on every project.
Mm-hmm.
We spend like after probably 30 minutes talking and smoking the cigar, He's very hype about this project. And in that moment, I throw the number like, oh, and this cigar is gonna cost $5. He like his face was like,
That would have been
how
the
are
same
we
face
gonna
I would
do
have made.
But
So
we
at that time, did you have any sort of thoughts around the packaging? Because I like the fact that it's almost minimalist in terms of everything. That it's the focus is on the cigar. In terms of like design and packaging, when you first had your dad try the cigar, was that already in mind, or did you say, "Hey, take a smoke of this really delicious cigar that I want to sell for $5," and then he almost shit his pants when you told him that?
I show him the whole project, like with the pictures of the presentation and everything. So I'm pretty sure, like from start, he knew that I was aiming for a very low price point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will say this though, for $5, it should have been called Buffalo 5. But unless it's like got like 10 herbs and spices in it, like a KFC chicken, then it makes sense for Buffalo 10.
Yeah. So the name is just a name. Like there's no heavy, big history behind the idea of having Buffalo 10 name behind it. Kind of the same. We just focus on having a very good cigar.
Yeah.
It's called Buffalo 10 because it was actually going to be like a 10 count pack. We did
Okay.
it, yeah, we tried it and it looked cool, but when we saw the 5 pack, I was like, oh, like this looks really nice. We were like, it's gonna be 5 packs, but we're keeping the 10. Deal with it.
We're devoted to the name, so.
Oh yeah. So if you want the real Buffalo 10, get 2 5 packs, I guess. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, and why not? Listen, that's such a nominal price for entry into really good cigars. Like that's what's crazy to me about the Buffalo 10. And then of course there's some other cigars in the market where I go, for something that price, for some people there's price prohibitiveness, right? Like it's too much, or I'm not yet into this thing that I think I may want to be into in terms of like cigar and passion and the whole thing. Cigars like that represent something that is not only beautifully made, smokes well, is insanely enjoyable in terms of flavors. It's like $5 for a cigar. I mean, I could name $10 cigars. I could name some, I'm not going to name names, north of $10 cigars that aren't as good as that cigar. So it's crazy to me that you guys took the chance, and in terms of the monetary piece of it, I would say there's probably an element of risk there as well, because you're creating something so good and you're putting out to the marketplace saying, hey guys, I just want you to smoke something that I know you'll enjoy, even with the minimalist packaging and the whole thing. Did you guys have a lot of derived success from that line over the period of time?
Oh yes. People is loving that brand a lot. We released that product. We did like a small pre-release in Norway. On the first batch we sent, sold out within like 2 weeks. After that, in the US, we released it on IPCPR. What we had in project, the cigars we made were for that period of time, from July to December. So we did a planning for an amount of cigar that could safely cover us for that period of time. We sold all those cigars in IPCPR. Oh yes, and actually today we are in back order again since today. I'm really sorry to the Buffalo 10 smokers, but we shipped like 2 weeks ago, and now we're out again. So it's just crazy. And all over the place is the same. In Germany, the cigar is doing very fantastically as well. This year we released it in Austria. They're gonna start selling this product next week, and I look forward to see what's gonna happen there. In Asia as well, a lot of people are talking about the Buffalo 10 line. I actually today I got a visit from my distributor in Hong Kong, which by the way he's been here for 4 months already, because
Whoa, he got stuck here?
He got stuck here on the island.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he tried the natural one, and he placed a pre-order already for the new one. Yeah,
Well,
everybody's
he's had 4 months to think about it.
No shit.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I'm very happy to see that a lot of people is enjoying the Buffalo 10, and they really like it. And we have a lot of stores that are calling all the time, reordering this line. And yeah, I mean, it's very exciting excited to see this. And I've been struggling a little bit with the back orders. It's the first time we had that kind of issue, and it's because we usually, well, you guys have seen all the tobacco we have when we plan a production. I always make sure we are very safe for enough period of time that I don't get in any trouble running out. But in this particular time, it was just impossible.
Yeah, no, I mean, you plan for what you can anticipate, and no one anticipated what happened. I mean,
Oh yeah.
no one knew the impact that was going to have. So it's pretty wild in terms of, you know, being shut down for such a long period of time worldwide. I mean, think about it. It's like the only time we've seen something that's like world epidemic, right? Not just something that is, you know, happening in the U.S.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. And uh, during the time we had the factory closed, you know, the cigars were aging, but there was no production anymore. So we really got behind on that part as well.
So I have a question about you in particular, because you'd mentioned some countries over in Europe where you guys have derived a ton of success, obviously, over a long period of time. Um, dare I say maybe some of those places are bread and butter for you guys? Not saying that the U.S. isn't well represented in terms of El Artista, but you do such a good job over there. You travel over to Europe all the time. So what's that been like? What kind of impact has that had in terms of not having in-person representation over in the European countries?
Yeah, so the European countries are the way the business is run over there is very different to the US. It has a lot of good things and a lot of bad things as well. Uh, right now, USA is our main country, and that's where most of the business we do. But the good thing about Europe is the fact that you deal with a distributor, uh, and like they take care of sales and everything else. You just have to make sure you send all the information they need. Uh, Go and do some events with them, and they organize everything as well. And you just have to go and every now and then just to meet the consumers to go and visit stores. Versus in the US where we need like a bigger structure to handle everything. Um, it's just a little bit different. I love both worlds. I love having direct contact with the retailers the way we do in the US, and being the ones that need to organize all the events and everything. And I also like the convenience of the way things work in Europe. It's a little bit more complicated because every country has their own set of rules. You need to understand that, and every country have like a different favorite product that sells in that particular market. Uh, so it's just a little bit different, but it's very fun as well. And I really love traveling over there. And every time I always tell this to everybody: cigar is the international language of brotherhood.
Amen.
And yeah, and I really like that. The fact that maybe I have no idea what this guy is talking because he doesn't speak English or Spanish. But fuck, we're having fun, you know. We're
Right.
drinking some good rum, having a good cigar, and having a great time.
So what's your favorite European country? Where do you like to travel most?
Oof, that's a tough one. A very tough one. like for me, like just to hang out, I love Spain. Like Madrid is for me one of the best cities in the world, but it's probably because like speak the language and the culture is very similar
Right.
to my weird, annoying Dominican culture. Uh,
No way.
so so maybe that's why I like it over there. Like you, every time I go there, I have a lot of fun. But all the other countries are so cool, man, and just like one is so different from the other. I always compare like the whole European Union with the whole United States, right? So like every country is like a one American state. The only difference is that the culture is so different from one to the other. Like you just walk on the street and you jump into another country and they talk another language and eat a completely different food.
Right.
So every time I go there, I just learn a lot, and I start checking like what's popular on the cigar lounge. Every country have like a weird thing they do. Like for example, in Norway, they love they have this chocolate brand, and in every event that I have done over there, they are always eating that particular chocolate, and I always like what the hell. Uh, so and there are always like little details like that in every
Right.
single one of them that make it unique, and I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of a similar experience I had. And so you've traveled a lot further over in Europe than I have. I've only been over there once. But my wife and I, we traveled over to Copenhagen, and then we went over into Sweden, and then we went down to Amsterdam. And although those countries represented in terms of geography are not that far away from each other, culturally, they're completely different. I mean, it was insane the difference. Like totally different experiences. And, from Copenhagen over to Malmo, Sweden was 45-minute train ride. And that
Yep.
5-minute train ride took you into a whole different world, which
Oh
was
yeah.
totally crazy, so unique. And then traveling down to Amsterdam, you're like, I'm in a whole nother world. Like I'm not even that far. It was an hour-long plane ride. I'm like, I'm in a whole other place, which
Yep.
is so crazy to me because being in the United States, I can go all over the country, and although there's subtle differences in terms of like dialect and things like that, culturally, there's a lot of similarities. It's not that dispersed or diverse. So it's crazy going over there, and what you can experience from country to country in such a short period of time is absolutely amazing to me.
Now, don't discredit it though, Corey. I could take an hour drive down to Kentucky, and I can meet some backwoods folks who
That's true.
raise their children in family. We call it incest.
Yeah.
That have a lawn full of unused or used siding.
A lot of tires.
Lots of trucks.
A lot of broken down cars.
I've seen pools in the back of trucks with tarps.
Yep, that's called
living the life, man.
That's what we call mobile hot tubs. There's plenty of those in Kentucky, which is a unique experience. But yeah, Chris, he's got a point, right? Travel down in Kentucky, you see all kinds of weird shit. So where's your favorite place in the U.S.? Where do you like to travel most?
In the U.S., that's a tough one as well, man. Like,
well, I will say, Ram, there's only one right answer. So
I've never been to. You guys are in North Carolina, right?
We're in Ohio.
In Ohio,
North Carolina.
Why? Yeah, in Ohio. I've never been to Ohio actually. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be my favorite place when I get there.
Yeah. No. So here, Ram. No, it won't, because I've been here for 32 years, and it is not my favorite place. So I'm telling you right now, you have zero reason to come to this state other than to sell cigars. There's nothing here. If you want free admission to an Air Force museum, that's about all we've got. and the Football Hall of Fame, which you probably give two shits about. So it's not really relevant. Ohio's a great place to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I love New York, but it's kind of the city that I like going for 4 days and then I'm done. Like
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Too much. It's fun for 4 days. I'll say Miami. Like I'm always there, and I have a lot of friends, and I have fun every time that I can. That I'm not working.
Miami's absolutely awesome. Beautiful. I love it down there. It's weird too because there's people within the U.S. that are like, ugh, don't go to Miami. Miami's just filled with blah, blah. I'm like, Miami's got so much cool culture to it, and cigars out the ass because Florida is just the most friendly state besides Pennsylvania in terms of tobacco. So I guess maybe there's certain things that you aren't necessarily attached to in that regard. It may not be a place you want to go. I absolutely love it there. Southern Florida is amazing to me. But you'll be shocked, dude. A lot of people in the United States don't like Florida at all, or even like southern parts of Florida to Miami, which I find weird. But there's a ton of people here. They're like, oh, no. I'm like, you're crazy. That's one of my favorite places to go.
I feel like I'm in Miami right now. Corey's fucking porch.
Yeah, we're on
so fucking.
Yeah, we're on my patio, and it's like 90 degrees, and I'm filled with sweat right now. Well, here's the thing. So we called an audible last minute, obviously. I asked you, I said, hey, would you be open to doing a Zoom? Because we really don't ever do that. We've like never done this format, but I thought it would be cool because I wanted people to see your face. Like we'll put this out on YouTube and the whole thing. And like, it's good to see inflection. There you go. It's good to just see people. You make like there's a further connection to it, right? Than just being over audio. I really wanted to do this in particular because we've had you on the podcast before, and then you were gracious enough to allow us to come down and visit the factory. And literally one of the best times I've ever had, like hands down, one of the best experiences. And we took some of the audio from that, the video from that, and then we did I was like, we need to have Ram in video. You're a third time guest. You've hit the trifecta, and I think you're the only person that we've had on for the third time.
I think so.
Thank you. I'm very happy for that.
Well,
it's actually, I think
it's great for us.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this question because you had us down in December of 2017. I believe, if my memory serves, it was December 16th, 2017 was the exact date I think we finally arrived. So the fact that those couple years have gone by, you've had another group that's come in, and part of that group was representation from Half Wheel. So who do you like better? Were Chris and I better than whoever was from Half Wheel? Was our group definitively better than those? Because the Half Wheel guy seems like a fuddy-duddy. You don't have to tell me right now whether he was or wasn't. Maybe we do that off camera. But he seems like he's not a fun guy to hang out with.
He's actually a very interesting person to talk with, for real. Yeah, it's very fun. Like every person is different. And every group, both of them are being very different, but it's been very cool, both of them. Yeah.
I was trying to get you to admit that he wasn't as cool, but you gave me
Patrick is a really cool guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's not a person that will be a cursing and just silly talking all the time. Like he's more like a little bit more serious, but he's a very interesting person, and I enjoy both worlds.
Good.
But I doubt anybody from any of your trips went through what I went through when some dude was trying to sell me some really sweet bread on the beach, and I said some unflattering attempts at Spanish words, and I basically asked the man to have rough sex with him.
Yeah, I remember that. That was in the beach in Las Terrenas. Yeah. I always remember when Dula, like this guy came to sell him a watch.
Oh yeah.
And at the end, like a scammer was trying to scam him, and at the end he got the watch almost for free.
I know. Like the guy was like he was like all but giving it to him. Like just take it. Fine. Jesus, just take the watch. That was such an amazing experience overall. I had so much fun. And also, is Chris the only person that actually ate an unfermented tobacco leaf? Has anyone else done that through that experience?
That what?
Do you remember we were sitting on those?
We met your dad for the first time.
We were down in what I will call the tobacco bunker, and it was like right in the beginning of the next day that we actually got to see everything in the production facility. I don't know if you remember this, but Chris took a tobacco leaf and started eating it
from the bushel.
Yes, I remember. Yeah. You are the one and only that has done that so far.
Perfect.
See what
Yeah.
happens. See what happens when we join the party.
Yeah,
That's
that's fun. Yeah.
you get people doing reckless stuff. By the way, I did want to make note. Look at this. No, not one touch up. Look how even.
Oh wow. How is it is smoking?
It's spicy.
Yeah.
Mine's got heat to it, man. I'm telling you. I don't know if
Mine doesn't at all.
maybe I blew out my palate earlier, but it's actually it's pretty good. I'm biased because I made it, but man, it's smoking great. The draw is phenomenal. So although I created what looks like Frankenstein's monster, this thing is like smoking beautifully.
Yeah, it has a lot of time, so it's smoking very nice. Sometimes, like if it has burning issues, it's because of the way you place the tobacco inside, more of than aging. In this particular time, because it's such an old blend, but it's good. I'm very happy. And do you remember the blend that you picked? Like what percentage of ligero?
Yeah, so I actually have the piece of paper. So I looked at it earlier. So it was only 10%. I think it was 10 or 20% Ligero. It was like 20% Ligero, 10% Ligero, 40% Seco, and I forget what the percent of Viso was.
Yeah.
But I know it was only 10% Ligero.
Mine was 60% Ligero, 40 or 30% Seco, and 10% Viso. And I'll tell you what, I had one fresh when I got home, and I was like, this is pretty good. And then I smoked the rest of them in literally about a month's time. I almost smoked all of them. I have one left that I'm just holding on as a memento. But I'll tell you what, mine tasted pretty fucking
Chris's
good.
was really good. It was actually a really good cigar. When I smoked his, I was like, oh my God, this is delicious.
Yeah.
So a nod to your fantastic tobacco.
Yeah. It's kind of,
Thank you.
kind of hard to fuck up a blend if the tobacco is all really good too.
Yeah. What we try to do is when we do this kind of seminar is to use some tobaccos that we know for sure that they go along very well together, because you know that there are some tobaccos that you just need to know how to blend. They're great, but you need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're gonna have a very bad blend.
Yeah.
So speaking of blends, is there any further iterations of anything Big Poppy that is on the horizon? So you did the original, you did the Slugger. Is there going to be? I'm pretty sure
like the home run.
I'm pretty sure he's all healed up now. So a back up and running and the whole thing is. Are you still in contact with David Ortiz?
Yes, I actually talked to him a couple of days ago. For this year, there's not gonna be any new product, but we are considering having a new size for the slugger. That cigar is been very popular, and been getting a lot of very good feedback. But this a big ass cigar. It's a 60 by 7, so we did it that size. Sorry, because that was what David wanted to. But if we make it a little bit smaller, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna appreciate that. It's been very popular, and we've been getting a lot of sales out of that cigar. So we are considering having a smaller one, but maybe for next year.
Maybe call it the bunt. You have the slugger. Call this one the bunt.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird too, thinking about how like the size and the name, and of course David Ortiz, that is all fitting.
Yeah.
But then also the fact that like some people just don't like, vitolas that are that large. So what type of? I mean, there's certainly people who are going to buy them. I'm sure it's been insanely successful. But there's also the part of it where there are some people who really much enjoy smaller vitolas and all that. And if it's really a great blend, it's like, what do you do going forward, and how do you proceed with that, awesome blend and recreating it in a different vitola? Were you pleased at the fact that he went on air and started smoking those cigars live?
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
How cool was that? I was so excited for you. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it blew up all over the social media world, which was great.
Oh yeah. That night we got a lot of increase in our website and our social media, and it was crazy. I had no idea he was gonna do that. Uh, and we don't even have a Fox, like American Fox Sports on the island. Like we have El Señor Fox or some shit like that in Spanish. I don't know. So I didn't saw it live, but when I saw the recording, that was hilarious, man.
That
Yeah.
was really when I watched it, actually someone sent it to me and I was like, wait a second, there's no way he just did that live on air. There's no way.
It was
And then I just kept seeing it pop up and I was like, holy shit, he did that live on air. And then also kind of just threw up the middle finger to the whole like TBFCC thing and was just like, what are you going to do about it?
No fucks.
Like, I'm David Ortiz, I'm going to do what I want. And it was like super well received. I was so thrilled to see that, like specifically for you guys. I was like, that is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You want to see something cool? Let me see. If I can show you.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that is a very good artist. So he did a really cool painting. We have another release for this year, which is a new limited edition humidor.
Mhm.
And this is, I don't know if you can see it.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's dope.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Can you,
That's so
really
cool.
yeah.
Dude, that looks awesome.
Oh yeah. Yes. When I show it to David, he was so happy about it. So we're gonna have some limited edition humidors with that image on top of it
That is
for
really
this year
cool.
as well.
How much are you going to sell those bad boys for?
I have no idea.
Put a premium on them. Just elevate them to no end. Did I tell you? So when we left the Dominican, I was so pissed because I left with, that's what I wanted, was the Big Poppy cigar. You gave me the box, wrote a nice note on it. We're going through security. Everybody makes it through just fine with all their cigars, little thing. Mine stuffed in my bag.
I have my Colorados.
I get pulled aside by some agent, not part of like TSA or anything like that. Like guy looked like he was in like the freaking like drug enforcement agency. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I search your bag? And I was like, sure. And he takes the box and breaks the seal on it and opens it up. And I literally went, oh.
And then he finger touches.
Yeah, and then he was starting to like fidget with everything, and then puts them all back in, closes. He's like, "You're good." And I'm like, "Did you have to break the seal?" He's like, "I had to look inside of it." And I was like, "Come on, man! I wanted that sealed up. I wanted to hold that for a while. That meant something to me." And he's like, "I don't give a shit. I'm breaking the seal and I'm opening it up." I was like, "What do you think I'm smuggling? Come on."
Yeah, that happens every now and then, and I'm really sorry it happened to you.
Oh, I know. It's all good. I was gonna hold on to them for a long time, and there are none left. I smoked through those so freaking fast. I still have the box, but I was like, that Big Poppy blend, man. There's something about that blend that I just fell in love with the first time I had it, and I was like, I'm leaving here with the Big Poppy blend because to me, it's one of the. I don't even want to call it underrated. It's not underrated. It's been so well received, but like. There's times where I smoke it, or if I'm talking to someone about El Artista, they go, okay, El Artista, like, what have they made? And I'll say, I was like, hey, that Big Poppy, the David Ortiz, like a staple in their lineup. I was like, that cigar is so freaking good. And people are like, really? And I'm like, it's really, because I think there's this notion that if it's like a celebrity endorsed type of cigar, people just assume like there's the Karl Malone, there's the Ray Lewis, and people are like, okay, well, they're essentially endorsing the cigar. It's got their name on it. But what does that really mean? I was like, no, like the time and attention that went into the development of the cigar and how much David Ortiz played in a part of that development of the cigar. I was like, I'm telling you, it's freaking good. It's not like this quintessential celebrity cigar. Let's make something and put someone's band on it and see how it sells. Like, I was like, this is a very thoughtful and intentional cigar. The blend is amazing. And then when people smoke it, they're like, holy shit, that's fantastic. My father-in-law loves it. He always says, like, you got any more of those?
David is a very good smoker. Like he's not just a guy that is kind of trying to learn how to smoke a cigar. Like he actually enjoys smoking a good cigar. And so on this blend, he's responsible almost 100% of it. He's the one that chose that blend, and it took him a lot of time to say like, yes, this is the one that we're gonna use as the Big Poppy line. So yeah, he did a good job working with that cigar, and yeah, we are very happy that we have that relationship with him, and people love the cigar, so we're very happy about that as well.
Yeah,
I feel
of
like
course.
that would be challenging too, like from a business standpoint. If you get someone's like, I've got $1 million, I want to make a cigar, but they have no sense of taste for what a good cigar is, but they still want to pay you $1 million, and you're like, well, we think the blend should be this. Why don't you try these? They're like, we don't like those, but then they pick like a blend that is not the greatest, and you're like, oh God, why?
Yeah. Well, that happens every now and then. You just have to give all the good advice as like the best advice you can, but at the end is the customer's decision of what blend they want to bring out.
And that comes across any industry, like even my industry, where it's like it's a client-based industry where I'm developing and producing products, digital products for folks, and we make recommendations, and they go, well, thanks for the recommendation, but we want to do this. It's like, oh, please don't, please don't.
So Ram, if not David Ortiz, what other celebrity or celebrities would you want to work with? Is there anybody on your radar? Anybody that you are like, man, this would be an awesome person to work on something similar to, as far as like either celebrity endorsed or someone that you would just want to work with, period?
So we've been getting a lot of interest of some other Dominican baseball players that kind of want to do the same that we did with David. And we right now are uh, like are not looking for any other celebrity endorsement for now. Uh, Mainly because of all these crazy things about the FDA. You have to be very cautious of what you're gonna bring out new. Uh, but I'm up to collaborating with anybody, as if somebody that knows what he's doing, and I see that has he's very focused on how he's gonna run the business and what he needs. I'm happy, I like working with people like that.
Right, of course. Are you focused at all this year, of course, with like the shutdown, coronavirus, the whole thing? And I know you were saying a little bit earlier as far as like, the European market differing so much from the US market. What's your focus in terms of US this year? I'm obviously expansion, but are you like intentionally focused or targeting on certain states, certain certain B&Ms that you want to get your product into? What does that focus look like, and what does the strategy look like now that Corona's taken place?
So we've been putting most of our efforts on working remotely. So we have a very good team of staff calling on see how prospecting new stores over the phone instead of your traditional sales rep knocking the door. Right now we are focusing in that area a lot, and one of the good things about that is that it gives us the freedom to be able to cover a bigger territory than just like a person going to from one store to another. So we are not focusing like in one particular state or region per se, but looking to the US as just as one big market with a lot of potential accounts that we can open.
That is very true. I didn't even really consider that, but yeah, the reach you would have doing it digitally and from a cost perspective of travel is extremely advantageous, because even in this regard, B&Ms are going to be more open to the idea of this type of business because they can't get people in their stores. So it's like if there's any time to reach as many B&Ms as possible, it's literally now.
Oh yes, and it's much more convenient, and it's not as easy as it sounds because the way this business is being run for a long time is kind of the same,
Right.
and this is something people is not 100% usual of having like boutique brands being sold over the phone instead of a sales rep or a broker. but it works. One of the things we did, first in mind, what the first idea we had is hiring a, a, a company that could provide the service, like hiring the staff and to rep us and making the sales. But this industry is so unique that I'm pretty sure that something like that, it was not going to work. So we decided to build our own calling center and bring all our staff in, and instead of just like, if you get an account, that's going to be your account, and it's not that anybody can call just to check on them and to try to sell more products.
Right.
What they do here is that they build the relationship with the customers, more than anything else. We're looking for like long-lasting relationships.
Right. So you essentially are you building out that team in the Dominican?
Yes, we are.
Very
We are building the team here. We have a couple of months running the project already, and it's been successful so far. Unfortunately, we had to shut down for a month and a half, more or less. But the idea is working, and we're doing good. There are some things that are a little bit complicated in the country. One of the things is that sometimes we have no electricity, so you need to have like a backup system for that. We
Wait,
actually
what is that? What do you mean you don't have electricity? Like, is that a government shut off, or is it like
yes, that happens.
really?
Yes, so it before it used to be very bad. I remember when I was a little kid, we only had like maybe 14 hours a day of electricity. Nowadays, around 90% of the network in the country, it runs 24/7, some which means that probably gonna get 1 hour a week without electricity, which is not that bad considering you used to have 14
Right.
hours a day with electricity.
Right.
But like, for example, where we are now, where we installed this office, is in a very remote area, so we have to bring the wire network, the electricity network. It was almost 1 mile of cables that we
Whoa.
have to bring with the electricity company, that they are the ones actually installing everything. Another problem we had here was internet. Here we have very bad internet, so we had to contract a company to bring optic fiber here as well. So there were a couple of stuff, but we are very happy. I'm actually in a new building we built for this. On the upper level, we're gonna build a private cigar lounge.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah, next time you guys are here, we're gonna be able to have some fun over there. I'm gonna have my drum set up there, like TV screens all over the place. I like playing video games, so I'm probably gonna have like an arcade and a bunch of video games up there as well.
I'm
It's gonna
game.
be fun. It's gonna be like my man cave.
Can you just can you put a couple cots in there so Chris and I can just sleep there? And by the way, did you say drum set?
Yeah.
My man. My man. I will jam out with you. For real.
All right, deal. You play the drums as well?
I do. I have for
Oh,
a
cool.
long time. So yeah,
And I'll
22 years.
and I'll sing. So get a microphone and some monitors.
Oh, Ram, I forgot to tell you. So I haven't told you this. So my wife asked me, my birthday's coming up in August, and she asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And the answer that I gave her, she didn't believe me. And there's a reason why I picked this as my choice of what I wanted for my birthday. And she thought I was crazy. So the last time we were down there and everybody was dancing, I didn't know how to dance. Like, I don't know how to salsa. I don't know how to move like that. I don't know how to use my hips. I barely have hips.
Looks real stiff.
I just look terrible. So she said, "What do you want for your birthday this year?" And I said, "I want salsa lessons. I want to do Spanish dancing." I was like, that's what I want. And she was like, she laughed at me and she's like, this was like, fuck off, like, fuck you. Cause she's a dancer. Like she's been dancing since she was a little kid. And I was like, no, I'm dead serious. That's what I want. I was like, cause the next time I go down there, I want to be able to dance with people. I want to make it look like I know what the hell I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. In 2 months, we're going to be doing some salsa dancing.
That brings up a good thought in my head, Ray. So last time we were there, I did way too much dancing with some of the female employees.
Oh yes, I remember that. I remember we had a band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was so fun.
A lot of merengue dancing.
Yeah. Do any of them? I don't know. Do any of them mention me?
They still mention Dula because they thought he was David.
Damn it to him.
Cause he was like Big Papi Light.
Oh yeah.
That was so funny.
like, what is that Big Papi? He looks different on TV.
It was so funny. Oh, another thing that Kevin asked me, because he sends me samples of these things that I absolutely love and I enjoy to no end. And every time he sends them, I smoke. It's the first thing I smoke, and they're so wonderful to me. And he said, ask Ram to put these into regular production.
Oh yeah.
These are so tasty and delicious. Ram, I'm not sure why these aren't in like 100-pack bundles. They are so freaking good. I don't even know what's in here. It's like crack cocaine. I don't know what it is, but they are absolutely phenomenal.
That's the Fugly.
That's the Fugly. Yep.
Yeah. When I came up with this project, and I told Kevin, like, hey, bro, we should bring this little cigar out there. I was like, what is that? It's just, let's do this. It was probably like 1 month before IPCPR, and I was like, let's bring it to the show. It was like, we don't have any materials out of it. This is gonna be our secret menu item. Some fast food restaurants, they have some products they don't have on the menu. Right. I was like, this is gonna be our secret menu. I was like, oh, you're fucking crazy. It's like, no, let's do it. We did it, and people love it, man. It's incredible. Yeah.
They are so freaking delicious. I can't even explain how much I love these little bastards. To the point where the last batch he sent us, I don't think I gave any to Chris. I think this may be the last one, and I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna smoke it.
Yeah.
He won't touch it.
Because
he won't let me touch it.
They're so freaking good. I don't know what it is, man, but I fell in love with it. I smoked one, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, like early in the morning. It's like I woke up at like 7 in the morning. I sat on the back patio. I had my little espresso, and I smoked one of these. And I sort of got, like, for a period of like 40 minutes, I was just in heaven. I was like, I don't even know what's in here, but it's absolutely delicious. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Thank you. It's just a hit of peppery and a very small cigar. I decide to do it because when I'm traveling, that kind of little cigar is what I usually have. When you don't have a lot of time at the airport, or maybe it's winter time and you don't want to be outside for a long time when you get to the hotel or whatever, I just light up one of these little guys, and it's a good little smoke.
They're perfect. That's absolutely what they're perfect for. Have you ever thought about, it's something I was thinking about in particular with your brand, and I know this is, I don't want to say it's I don't want to say that it's a damned thing anymore, but have you ever been approached or have considered doing like a collaborative effort with another factory, with another manufacturer that you can represent either in the UK or in the US? Because there's so many people. I think about just the fact that like in Tamboril and where we were at, and where were we? Santo Domingo, right? Or
Santiago.
So in Santiago, there's so many it's like Manufacturers Row. Like everybody's down there. Have you thought about doing something like that?
We are actually talking about a collab. We soon are gonna be talking about that. So yeah, we've been getting interest of some companies on doing a collab with us, and this time in particular we're very close to do something, so stay tuned. And
well, now you have me intrigued. So part of me wants to keep pressing you on the issue, but I won't do it.
Come on, man.
You'll say it at the right moment, and that'll be good enough for us. It was just weird because I was thinking about like when we were at the party that you threw, and there's like guys that roll in from LFD, there's guys that roll in from other places. I met a few guys who had sent me from samples. Like weirdly enough, we met them at your party.
Yeah,
and they the guy, the chameleon
guys.
Chameleon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool guy.
Yeah, totally cool. Sent us samples like a couple months back, and they were like, "Hey, remember you guys from the Dominican?" And I was like, "What? Did you?" And then I remembered who they were, and I was like, "Yeah, I was just thinking about just all the different manufacturers that are down there that you have access to, that you know all these guys." I just figure like that's something that to me would seem plausible and on the horizon potentially. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, we have a lot of manufacturers here, and I think one of the main things I love about this industry and the way things run here on the island is the fact that we are all friends, and yeah, we are competitors of one to each other, but it doesn't feel like that. Anytime I need help from one of the factories, or if they need help or some advice or whatever from me, we are always open to help each other. We work like a very big community, and that's pretty cool. And like for example, a Chameleon, I know them for a long time, and I remember when they started the project, they were very young, probably like 18 or 19, I don't know, and they decided to visit me and to ask me some advice, and I'm always more than happy to help anybody that wants to join to the industry. And there's a space, there's room for everybody, and anything that we can do to help each other, I think that's good, and that's the beauty of this industry, you know. And
Yeah,
I really hope it continues to be like that.
Yeah, I don't think it differs much either from most places. I feel like a lot of manufacturers would share the same sentiment as you in terms of like, hey, we're all in this together, and everybody is essentially fighting a much bigger battle together too, which creates unity, and that's the FDA regulatory processes, right? Like,
oh yeah,
that's an opportunity for some key players in the industry to band together to fight off, a regulatory process that is, for all intents and purposes, unfair. So you do create some unity in just that alone. But I think even outside of that, the traditionalism of what cigars are, it more often unites people than it does segregate them, which is awesome, because it's really one of the only industries that I know that's really like that. Like the industry I work in, our competitors are our enemies. Like we don't share secrets, right?
Yep.
If someone from one of my competitors called me and said, "Hey, can I get some?" I'd be like, piss off, dude. Like, I'm not telling you anything. You are my competitor. Like I'm trying to eat your lunch every day, and it's there's a cutthroat nature to it, and I just don't feel. It's one of the things I really admire about the cigar industry is that it doesn't have that same feel, and there really is represented space for everybody. And speaking of that, this is a question that I often ask, especially recently as we've done more interviews, is that how do you feel in terms of like the saturation in the industry? There's all these small sub brands, and you guys are different in the fact that you own a giant process. You own
factory,
essentially everything, right? From seed to shelf. It's you guys are in charge of that process. But there's a lot of like smaller brands, people who will contract manufacture, that just keep pushing themselves into the industry, and some do great and some fold. They, as quickly as they appear, they disappear. How do you feel in terms of the saturation? Do you think there's still more room to grow?
So there will always be new brands coming out, and honestly, I like that. I like the fact that people have a lot of options in their humidor, and like ourselves, we're always bringing a new product every year because that's what the market asks for. I really like the fact that there's a lot of options out there, and I usually when I travel, I usually try to smoke cigars that are not from the island, that I don't have a lot of access to, just to see how different they are, and the fact that some of those blends from other small or big manufacturers blows my mind. I like that. So honestly, I think that a bigger the options, the better the industry is. And sometimes it feels a little bit saturated, but companies come and go, and that's kind of that's natural. That's the way a boutique products usually happen. It's kind of the same with beer. Like in the beer industry, is the same, the craft beer at least.
Right.
So yeah, I like it. I like the fact that we have options, and there's a lot of people bringing some very new and fresh ideas to the market.
Can I give you some kudos, Ram? I want to give you some kudos, some really nice words. You recently blended a cigar that me and Corey have both tried from a new brand, relatively new brand, very new brand actually. The OM cigars from Oz Morales.
Oh yeah, Osvaldo.
The number 2. There is something magical about that number 2 cigar.
Oh yeah, Osvaldo is one of those customers that he came and he knew what he was looking for, and I feel very happy when you get to meet somebody and do business with somebody that knows what he's doing, and like already had in his mind the idea of what he's looking for. He is very good designing all his products, and yes, I totally agree with you. That blend number 2 is fantastic.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, that cigar is magical. And I just tried. He sent us some of the number fours.
Yeah.
So I have some of those, and I smoked one of those too, and it's absolutely incredible. I was like, man, these cigars are fire. They're absolutely wonderful. So freaking tasty.
Oh yeah.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, but
many people don't know. Yeah.
Just to remind, like, you guys, you blend for a lot of different freaking people. I mean, when we walked back into your guys's what's the room, like the aging, like stuff that you had on the shelves that's going to go out.
The aging room.
Recorded. Yeah,
the aging room, right? So when we were in there was an insane amount of stuff that's going all over the world.
Brands we had no idea.
Oh yeah,
brands and labels and the whole thing. And I'm like, what is this? What is this one? And I'm looking at all these crazy Vitolas. I'm like, what is this one? And you're like, that's not U.S. That's not you. I'm like, what? Why are these in the U.S.? And by the way, why is not the Cimarron Colorado in the U.S.?
Yeah,
I don't know, actually. Like, honestly,
I don't know either.
When I work in that project, especially for Germany at first, and now we sell it all over Europe. And I don't know why we haven't introduced to Europe yet. At first, like, we didn't, like, since it's the same wrapper as the Big Papi, we didn't want a cigar that competes with the Big Papi in the US from our own lines. But it kind of, like, now it has kind of its own path, so I don't know, maybe that's something I should consider to bring it to the US.
It's real good.
We smoked 9 to 10 Cimarrons a day when we were with you.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
And not because that was the only selection. It was because it's a fucking good smoke.
You know what's weird about that too is that I think, like, Chris has mentioned this before, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit in terms of, like, just the representation in a humidor. Like, when you travel in other places, you like to experience other stuff, right? Mm-hmm. What's weird to me about the Cimarron, in particular the Maduro, which we smoked most often when we were down there with you, was the fact that it's a cigar that I never got tired of.
Never.
Like, it's the only time where I wanted to keep eating chicken for like days on days on days on days. I was like, it's rare. It's honestly very rare for me to just, like, I'm a creature of exploration, right? Like, there's times where I close my eye because I don't know what to pick. It's so overwhelming, like what I have in my whole collection, right? I'll just close my eyes and pick something. And I like the randomness of that. I like just something that's just different and unique. But that was one of those cigars that when I smoke it, it's like, well, I can have 1, then I can have 2, and then I can have 3, then I can have 7, then I can have 8 at the close of the day. And I'm like, I still am absolutely in love with the cigar. It's so good. Yeah. And someone actually, when I posted something the other day in terms of the Cimarron Maduro, and someone hit me up and they were like, they didn't realize that we knew who you were. And they're like, oh, that's Cimarron Maduro, and I know the owner, and I know all this. And I was like, yeah, no, it's a great cigar. And then I finally had to tell him, I was like, yeah, no. I was like, I've had it before. I know Ram. Like, we've very much known each other for a while. And I was like, you're absolutely right. It's an incredible cigar. And it's so cool to even see it just on like social media, right? When everybody has access to all this different stuff, it's really cool when someone comments or sends me a message and they're like, that cigar is absolutely phenomenal. And that was just like a couple of days ago. And so you're absolutely right. The cigar is freaking flawless, incredible. To me, that's like probably one of the best releases you guys have come out with for sure.
Oh.
One that at least I personally have fallen in love with.
A staple of Dominican, you know? Like I don't know what it is about it. I don't know what it is. We smoked so much of it and never got bored of it. Even when I was at a nicotine high, when I'm sitting in the back of your black SUV, was it black?
Well, there was a silver one and there was a black one.
It was the white one, like
the white one.
We looked like we were in a political motorcade.
We literally did. We looked kind of like a political caravan.
Yeah.
But yeah, just even sitting in the back of your SUV when we're traveling across like the coastline into the rural parts of Dominican, not staying the touristy spots. I mean the real Dominican. We saw the rural parts. We saw the middle of the country. We saw the coastline. We saw the small towns. And just every time sitting in your SUV, me and Zane in the back usually from Blind Man's Puff. Just smoking Cimarrons, man.
Oh yeah.
There's some like even now. I know it's only been like almost 3 years, but dude, I'm telling you this right now. That experience for me and Corey is already nostalgic, and like we crave going back.
Oh yeah.
You guys need just to let me know. Yeah, and I'll take some days off, and I'll show you some other places that are not that popular here that are really cool.
Yeah, so we're planning a trip. So our show sponsor is his name's Alex from My Cigar Pack, and he lives down in the Dominican, and he's gonna host us when we come down.
Cool, yeah.
We have to go see Ram. It's a must. So that's got to be a part of my trip. You know, our plan was to see, okay, we're gonna go from factory to factory, explore, go see some stuff, do some tours. I was like, I got to spend some time with Ram. So I was like, that's already partial time that I have into this planned trip.
I'm in, and I'm more than happy to spend some time with Alex as well. He's a very good friend.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, he's a wonderful human being. So we're always happy to interact with him. I mean, I swear to God, like I talk to him daily, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange, but yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. And I'm anticipating the time because I haven't been able to travel in a while. And like you, I'm someone who likes to explore. I like to go out and I like to travel. So it's really weird for me to be at home for an extended period of time. It's even for work. I mean, I travel all over the place and love to travel the world and the whole thing. Haven't been able to do so. So I'm like itching. And really the first place that I really want to go back to is I want to go back down to the Dominican. So that's number one on my list. Yes. So of course, we're going to let you. I would be disappointed in myself if I was in the Dominican and you didn't know about it.
Yes.
Yeah. When we do like when Kevin pitched me the idea of having this tour, we were thinking, you know, like, oh yeah, the standard. Let's go to a big hotel in the coast and whatever. And I was like, you know, like let's show people the real Dominican Republic. You know, like I never go to a all-inclusive hotel in Punta Cana. Right. I never go to Punta Cana. It's not my thing, you know?
Right. I don't want to go to Punta Cana, damn it. I want to do I want to do.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to drive through the streets and see a herd of freaking bulls walking up the street.
Yeah.
I was like, that to me is the realest thing.
I want to see military police on like mopeds with one guy riding.
Oh yeah, the guy with like a shotgun.
Guy in the back with a shotgun or an AR, like an assault rifle. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, hell yeah. And there are so many cool things to see in this country. You know, we have so many not so common areas. We have like sand dunes in our region. We have the only place in the Caribbean that gets below freezing point during winter time.
Really?
Yeah, in Constanza.
I had no idea.
Yeah, really cool place. it never snows, but during the night it gets below zero and everything is frozen outside.
That's
What?
crazy.
Yeah. In the border with Haiti, that area is so beautiful and so isolated that nobody goes.
I wanted to ask you about that. I was like, can we go to Haiti or close to? I don't want to say I want to go into Haiti, but
Yeah. Well, there's in this town in particular, like the closest border we have from Santiago. There's like a new bridge because there's a river that divides the country, and there's the old one. They destroyed the old one, but you can kind of walk halfway to it. So it's kind of weird. Like, okay, like we are at the end of the Dominican Republic now, like at the really edge, and you
right.
can see the Haitian side on the other side, which is quite interesting.
That is
Oh,
so
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, the crazy thing to do is to go during. We have this area where one time a week they open the border, so they can come and do some trading, like in a market, and that's fucking crazy. That's a
Wild.
very interesting experience to see.
Oh, who was our driver? that
Oh
we
yeah,
had?
yeah.
Mooney.
Yeah, is he still with you?
How's he
Oh,
doing?
hell yeah, hell
Nice.
yeah.
Love that dude.
He's the best.
I love that dude.
Yeah, he is awesome, man. He took care of us.
Yes, he did.
Mm.
Yeah, no. So I remember we were talking about the Haitians when we were there, and like just the dynamic between the Dominican. I didn't realize the open market thing was like. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
What's unique about that experience? Like, is it just the fact that like now you have these two countries that share a border are now together in trade, and it's just kind of a weird kind of experience?
So that area is very remote. So like it's like our side is a very small town, and their side as well. It's a little bit bigger, but very small as well. So most of the trading they do is like food, and cattle and stuff like that, which is
Trees.
quite interesting. What I like the most about going there is getting some Haitian rum because it's
Oh.
fucking good. Oh yeah, they have a rum barbacoa. That's very good, and I don't know
dude.
why they don't sell it here on the Dominican side. But they have very good beer, the Prestige beer, and the rum. Both of them are very good. Honestly, Babacu is one of my favorite non-Dominican rums out there.
Oh, that is
Oh
awesome.
shit.
Yeah,
Shit.
and it's just hard to get it. Like here, it's impossible. If you don't know somebody that goes back and forth to Haiti, you cannot get it.
That's
on this side.
interesting. So I
Yeah.
would assume if you can't get it in the DR, you probably can't really get it anywhere. I mean, I've never heard of that in the U.S.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe it is, but
I have seen it on specialty stores in some cigar lounges in Germany. They also have like a very like exotic rum selection, and I have seen it there. But other than that, I've never seen it elsewhere.
is it expensive?
It's cheap. It's very cheap. The cost is depending on how you look like. Probably it's gonna be a little bit more expensive to you.
That's true.
And
That's
what
true.
kind of car are you riding? If you go in a moped, you're just gonna get it almost for cheap, probably $2-3.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you show up in your Lexus or in your Mustang, good luck.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah. Good luck. Yeah.
Oh
By
my
the way, do you still have that red Mustang?
Yes, I do. I do.
Uh-huh.
I actually blow the engine off, heating problems,
Oh no.
a couple of months ago, and I already fixed it. Yeah.
Nice.
So I have my car again.
She's back up and running. I'll tell you what, and this is no joke. So I've never fancied myself as a Mustang fan or really a Ford fan in general. I'm more
That's
Chevy.
a classic though.
I love Camaros, same style, like same years in the late 60s style Camaros are just, but when I saw your Mustang, I was like, holy shit, I think I like Mustangs now. Like that car, I took so many pictures of your car ram, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I actually went back through my camera, I was looking at all the pictures that I had because I had to save them to a new hard drive. And I bet I had 30 pictures of that damn red Mustang. So beautiful. It's like pristine shape too.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to deal with old cars on this country, and it's a pain in the ass having an old car all over the world.
Right.
But the fact that anytime a part is broken, I need to order it in the US and wait for it to arrive, and pay taxes for it, like the import duties.
Ugh.
Oh, dude, it's worth it, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an absolutely beautiful car. Okay, so I want to do this. Before we wrap up, I have a series of questions for you that I don't think I've ever asked you before.
And they're super intimate.
Yeah. Like
All right.
we're
Should I
gonna
take
get
my
real,
shirt off
Yeah, you can.
just to get in the mood?
Well, you should probably
Light up some candles.
we'll rub our nipples a little bit. We'll really get this thing going. No, they're not going to be that crazy. What's your favorite style of cut for a cigar?
My finger.
Yes.
Just flip the cap off.
You did that
Oh, yeah.
so much. You did that 100% of the time when we were with you.
You know what it is, Ram, though? I think it's like the experts in the cigar community all say that. Like the people, like the traditional, they're like, dude, flip that shit off with your thumb. And I'm like, really?
Did Kevin learn that from you?
He's doing that now.
Kevin did it. Kevin did it.
Because he before he used to be like, oh, I need my B cup to try this cigar. You know.
I watched him when we were in DR with you guys. He was pulling off that cap with his index finger and thumb.
He's getting Dominicanized.
By the way, do you remember the great debate when it came to pizza? Because I felt like the odd man out. We ordered pizza on the beach, and I said pineapple and ham and the whole thing, and everybody, including yourself, looked at me like I was fucking crazy, that pineapple shouldn't be on pizza. And I think you guys, has the debate changed? Are you still hard stance, no pineapple on pizza?
Let's just change the subject because I'm about to hang up with you. I was actually talking about pineapple, like Hawaiian style pizza today. True story. Because we have like a Dominican stew we call sancocho, and some people eat it with a banana inside, and I was eating that for lunch today, and what I say is like a person that do that can eat a pizza with pineapple. And
for sure.
She was like, I love Hawaiian style pizza. Was like, you have no soul. You're going to hell. You know, that should be illegal. You know, if I became president, that would be my first law. No pineapples on pizza.
Ban pineapples on pizza.
That should be part of your agenda in your running campaign. Like,
oh yeah.
President.
Let's make pizza great again.
I will say this. So it's Friday night, and this is no joke. If my wife wasn't going out with her friends tonight, we have a tradition on Friday nights. We make two styles of pizza. One style of pizza is with bacon and pineapple. Every Friday.
Well,
don't hang up.
Ram's like, fuck.
Don't hang up. I have more questions. All right, off that tangent. Ram, what is your favorite style or preferred method of lighting a cigar? So what kind of tool or utensil do you like to use lighting a cigar? You can't say magnifying glass.
Try that. That's a good idea. I usually use a lighter because, like a torch, because of the convenience, but I really enjoy using cedar sticks. Like, I really like that little taste that it gives you when you're lighting up the cigar.
Right, that traditional feel. I like cedar sticks. When they're available, and some of the better cigar lounges that I've been to will have some cedar sticks out, I usually default to that if it's available. But I'm with you. The convenience of a torch cannot be beat.
Yeah.
Actually, as a matter of fact, the logo's rubbed off on it because.
Oh wow, that's an old one.
I swear, Ram, this is like one of the only ones I use. Single torch, and this thing is it's like it goes with me everywhere.
Yeah.
I love it. If there's a cigar that you're smoking that you don't like, what do you do with it?
I usually don't judge it by the first inch. I usually smoke it a little bit farther to see how it develops. If after half of it it's not good, I just stop smoking it. It has to be a very bad cigar for me just to throw it out like on the first inch.
Right. Gotcha. And you mentioned earlier, so you like when you travel around to try different stuff. So what's a cigar that you've been smoking recently, not El Artista, that you've really been enjoying?
Oof. So like I know it's a cliche, but I really like Bejiques, like the Cuban Bejique. That's a very good cigar. Sometimes, like last time I bought a box, 3 of them had a very bad draw and a lot of burning issues. But this is a fantastic cigar.
Right. Tastes great, but yeah, sometimes it's par for the course when it doesn't necessarily smoke all that great. So minus the Dominican, you can't use this as your answer. What do you feel is the most underrated region for tobacco?
Underrated. Costa Rica.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
We've said that before too.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is it about Costa Rica that they just produce great tobacco? People know it who have experienced it and who have had it. But there seems to be, someone was explaining to me that their thought was it's an economical thing. It's also a governmental thing. So what is it about Costa Rican tobacco that it seems like, hey, it's underrated, everyone knows it's good, but why isn't it more widely available?
I'm pretty sure cost is the main reason why. A minimum wage in Costa Rica is way much higher than Honduras and Nicaragua. I don't know a lot about the government rulings they have over there, but the price, I'm pretty sure, is one of the main reasons. The soil is very similar to Nicaragua, their neighbor countries, but I think one of the best things they have is the fact that they don't grow a lot of tobacco, so they are isolated there. There's not that many disease on the fields, so you end the soil is virgin, so you have all these natural and very old minerals and micronutrients in that soil that is just waiting for us to throw a couple of magical seeds.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah, I mean, it's like we've talked about this before, and it's weird because this is not the first time that answer has come up. So I'm trying to create a pattern and a theme out of asking these questions, and Costa Rican tobacco has come up numerous amounts of times. In terms of tobacco, what do you believe is one of the most up and coming regions for tobacco?
So you like here locally or in like a
Yeah,
country per se?
But I would actually be very interested and curious as far as the Dominican, but
I would
all
do
over the
that,
place.
yeah.
Okay, so
You can answer it in two ways.
okay, so here in the Dominican, the southwest of the island, there's a lot of free land over there, and we actually 2 years ago we did some trials over there, and the quality of the tobacco that you can get from that area is so good. There are some problems in the region, and that's why we haven't jumped in a project there. First, it's very far. Like driving is like 7 hours more or less, and there are no flights or anything like that. There's a lot of water problems. There's not like a good source of water for the lands that you can get on that area, and there's not a lot of tobacco culture. So you basically need to get the land and bring people from this
Right.
part of the island in order to grow the tobacco. So it's
Like
Yeah,
you
quite an
essentially
expensive
have
project.
to
build the infrastructure.
Yeah, you have to build the infrastructure around it. But wouldn't that essentially be the same of what's happened through Cigar's history anyway, right? There's the idea is like at one time none of those regions were ever growing tobacco, and at some point someone had laid claim to those lands, started growing tobacco. So do you think there's some viability in doing that in that particular region long term?
I think so. I think so. Yes. Right now we've been so focused in some wrapper products like something to replace broadleaf, which is a very hard to get tobacco right now.
Right.
And we are just focusing all of our energy on that. But I definitely think it's a project that can work in the future. You just need a lot of time in order to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last question for you. What do you want people to know, our particular audience, what do you want them to know about El Artista? What separates you guys? What makes you unique? Why people should smoke and try your cigars? Why they should be shouting from the rooftops? Give me the Cimarron, Colorado.
Well,
What makes you guys special in terms of what you believe and what you think creates a connection to the consumer?
the fact that we are a real and authentic company. We always try to work with our products and grow in a very organic way, and uh, let people enjoy the cigars we make with a lot of passion and from a company that is been out there since 1956 and is a really family-owned operations where a lot of my family members work in the factory and with a lot of passion and Really, we all enjoy what we do, and I consider we are one of the most authentic companies out there. We don't push it. We don't try to be something that we're not. We have a very strong roots in this island, and we try to expose that as much as we can. And also the fact that we are a vertically integrated company that handles everything from the seed to the distribution, I think it's something that makes us really special.
I agree.
I would agree with that. And it's weird because like part of it is, you can say that to us, right? And then we look at it and we interpret what you're saying and saying, okay, that's awesome. But there's the reality around it. And the reality is that Chris and I both have uniquely been able to experience that with you and your family and your operation. And it's amazing. Like, it's crazy to see the kind of production and everything that goes into what you guys do, from growing the tobacco to sorting the tobacco to rolling the tobacco. I mean, even in terms of all the aging process. I remember going into the one facility and seeing all the pilons of cigars, and even the way that you guys have everything layered together, right? Uniquely, it's a very special thing. I have tons of pictures of it, and I reflect on that quite often, actually. It's very cool. And it's super unique. So it's one thing to say it, it's a whole nother thing to experience it. And it's like, I can say as a third party, and Chris could say as a third party, it's like everything you're saying is 100% true. We've seen it, we've experienced it, we've been through it, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's weird too, because it's like we lost our virginity in that process. And I feel like any other sort of tobacco sexual experience that we could have with someone else is just going to flounder. It's not going to be as good.
It's not gonna be.
I feel like I'm going to be disappointed.
It's not going to be the same as the first time.
No, it's never like the first time. Never like the first time. The weird thing is that lasted a week. My first time in sexual experience lasted about 30 seconds. So that.
Yeah, about that. We still have that bail, that tobacco bail. What you gonna do with it? Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Poke a hole in it. Ram, I greatly appreciate you being on, man. I swear to God, it's like it's an absolute pleasure to talk with you, and it has been every single time we've gotten a chance to talk. And we know you're busy as shit, and especially during this time. So the fact that you even have taken any sort of small amount of nominal time to talk to us is absolutely, it's a pleasure on our part. It's an honor to be able to talk with you again. It's literally one of my favorite discussions that I can have is with you, and talking about the operation and talking about the family and all of it. It's just great.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me in again. I feel very happy to be here, and I'm always checking up on you guys and how your podcast has been evolving. And congratulations, for real. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Continue doing these random posts every now and then that are kind of silly and funny at the same time. And thank you very much, guys.
You got it, my man. Yeah. Hey, have a wonderful weekend, and enjoy your wonderful time in the DR and your new facility. I'm jealous. I want to come.
Well, you guys are more than welcome anytime, and yes, till next time.
Absolutely. Yes. See you, buddy.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Hey. That's weird because we're next to each other.
Yeah.
But how wonderful was that?
It's great.
That was great. Great interview again with Ram Rodriguez from El Artista, a friend of ours, someone that we've gotten to know pretty closely over a long period of time. Certainly one of my favorite operations, favorite factories. They just do some really, really cool stuff. And, it's interesting to me that, asking that closing question, and we talked about it before. It's like everybody talks about the great tobacco that they grow, right? And here's what I do, and here's what I get my hands on, and so on and so forth. And I think sometimes Ram is very humble in terms of talking about those things. So when he talks about like the connectedness to who they are as an organization, what they've represented since 1956, is things that you certainly want to attach yourselves to as a manufacturer. But in addition to that, they grow some absolutely amazing tobacco in the DR. And it's weird. It's like, I always tell people, if you have the chance, like a lot of people who listen to our podcasts are likely never going to go down to the Dominican and tour factories. But in the off chance that you do, and it's something that you're interested in doing, you have to make the El Artista factory a stop. Because when you get a chance to see the production, literally from the very inception, you know, putting the seeds out into the soil, the whole grow operation, the sorting facility, all of it, they literally do it from very beginning to very end. There's not a lot of operations really that take control of that process to that degree anymore. All the brands represented in the industry, if you think about how many there actually are, so few of that number actually control that process from beginning to end. They're one of the few operations that still does it. So it's really cool to talk to him and always get a better understanding. It seems like every time we talk to him, I learn something new. So it's really cool to see that. And of course, you know, check out their products, especially Buffalo 10, if you're looking for that delicious, you know, $5 valued cigar. Absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, the Cimarron and the Big Poppy being staples in their lineup, which are pretty accessible in the US. I'd say definitely try to get your hands on them. They're absolutely great.
Yeah, for sure. I really don't have anything to say, man. I feel fulfilled.
I feel sweaty.
I'm definitely sweaty.
Definitely sweaty. But we always greatly appreciate everybody listening to the podcast. And of course, this will be on video on YouTube. So we did something a little bit different. Obviously, we've done something in terms of June, which is great. Or sorry, did I say June?
June.
I meant it is June. I meant Zoom. They rhyme.
Zoom, yeah.
So we did this in a Zoom format, which will, of course, be available on YouTube. I thought it'd be cool just to do something video so you guys can actually see Ram. I would say he's probably, you know, we know what that booth looks like, and we know what John Huber looks like, and some of the other folks that we've had on the podcast over a period of time. They're more well represented in the U.S. because it's where they live. Ram, not so much. So I think it was good for everybody to kind of see him and to hear him, and it's just cool to see the visual representation. So that's why we decided to do this one on Zoom, which of course, if you're watching this now, you're watching it on YouTube. Please check out My Cigar Pack. That's our show sponsor. Their pack for June is inclusive of you get a little hot ticket sticker, as well as just an amazing few packs that he's tethered together. And he's already given me a glimpse again into packs that are going to be coming out here in the near future. So they're good stuff. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you what's in them because then it wouldn't be a surprise. But certainly you can check them out at mycigarpack.com, and you can use promo code HOT10 at checkout for $10 off your first pack. And then make sure you check out our website, www.hotticketweekly.com. Chris just released a review. I forget what it was.
It's the Hoyo and AJ.
Yeah, the AJ Fernandez
one.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's called. It's got a weird Spanish name.
It stands for friendship in Spanish,
which is great because that's what it's all about.
But can I say this, Corey?
Yeah.
Your cigar's not that bad.
My cigar was not bad. So for a lot of people knew that I blended the cigar years ago and that I produced it with my own crippled hands. Look at my own hobbit hands.
I've literally smoked this to nothingness.
It burned evenly, no touch-ups. So in terms of construction and burn, I would have given it perfect scores. And that isn't really even being biased towards the cigar.
Burn my fingers.
It legitimately burned that good. Now, I do feel that the flavor of Chris's was better than mine, but I did like mine. I thought it was a really good cigar. But in terms of like quality and construction, although it looked like a Frankenstein, it burnt so freaking well and even throughout the cigar. So the components of which I used, I'm very proud of in terms of those two things. Flavor of yours, to me, in my opinion, was better.
Yeah, I don't know. It was solid. It was kind of a medium bodied cigar, you know?
Yeah.
It had some strong bitterness.
It did. It did have that bitterness that I actually really enjoy, but I felt like there wasn't the kind of dynamic change-ups that I really enjoy in most cigars. It was very linear. It was a good linear flavor, but it wasn't, I was hoping to have a little bit more of a roller coaster ride.
Well, Corey, we only had so much tobacco to work with.
Right. And only
compliments of El Artista's factories.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid cigar, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. And I've got, guess what? I have more. I have 8 left. I have 8 left, and I'll be smoking them. I was actually thinking about maybe auctioning them off to people. So I had this crazy idea in my head, and I don't know how far I can take this idea because in terms of how well they are and how they smoke, I think some people would probably do some bidding on the cigars.
Start the bidding at $100.
But what I was thinking was maybe taking 5 or 6 of them, auctioning them off, and then donating the proceeds to a charity, a sponsored charity that we decide. Wouldn't be that much, but I think it would be something cool to do. So anyway, until next time, this was episode 155, which is awesome. Chugging right along. We've got more interviews lined up. We have one next week. I think we have one the week after, and then we've got another review. And then I think we have 2 preceding interviews after that. And like 2 more that I'm going to be lining up, just closing some dates on after that. So we're well into August in terms of what we're doing with the podcast. So stay tuned for all that stuff. And again, check out our website, www.hotticketweekly.com. Until next time, this is episode 155. We'll see you next week. See you, everyone.